Hey everyone, Grant with Gamertainment here, and today I'm going to be looking at the premiere episode of Better Call Saul. I watched it late last night after it came on, and I've never done a review like this before, but I don't know, I just like to throw my thoughts out, and I like to criticize shows, find the good and the bad, and this has been really anticipated for me. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if the mood would be similar to a Breaking Bad-ish kind of mood or feel to the show. And while I did find some of that, I found the pacing and kind of like the way they filmed was similar, but it is its own entity. It is different. Saul is very much the same as he always was, which is I'd say that's a positive about the show. But let's get into it. So starting out, I would like to talk a little bit about the opening sequence. It shows Saul working in a Cinnabon, which I thought was just fantastic. I thought that was great. At first, like at the very beginning, I couldn't tell if it was past, current day, or whatever, but it became pretty clear pretty quickly that it was current day after the events of Breaking Bad, which is awesome because I wasn't expecting any kind of indication of where Saul would be after the events of Breaking Bad, but clearly he's got a new identity. He's working at a Cinnabon. He's not doing the law, like working for the law anymore. He's not a lawyer. It's a really interesting take, and will we ever see more of that? I mean, thinking to myself, I'd love to see more of that. Does he stay that way? Does he quit the Cinnabon and go back to being Saul, the Saul that everyone knows, or what's the deal with that? There's one moment where he's standing there, and this sketchy-looking guy sitting in the Cinnabon is kind of looking at him, and he gets up, and it's almost as if Saul expects something to come of it, but he just kind of walks by and goes in and meets someone else. So kind of random there. So Saul goes home, and he takes out this old tape in a box with a passport, and I didn't really look. There's a couple other things in the box as well. And he puts in the tape and starts playing his old shoddy lawyer commercials, the Better Call Saul ads, which also is an awesome throwback. But either way, he sits there, and I guess that's kind of what the show is. It's him remembering how it all started, how he went back and made his career as the scumbag lawyer that he was. So I'll try not to get hung up on too many of the specific small details of the show. I apologize if I do. I could go on for probably an hour analyzing this one episode. I could probably talk about the episode longer than the episode was, but I'll try to go through the rest of it fairly quickly there. When we get into the flashbacks of how Saul started off his career, it starts off kind of slow, I'll say. In the courtroom, we don't know what's going on. We figure Saul is involved in the case and everything, but everyone's sitting there waiting, and eventually the judge sends someone to go fetch him, and he's in the bathroom, I guess, practicing what he's gonna say during the case. So it starts off with him being a very small-time lawyer, and his name isn't even Saul. His name is we knew his real name wasn't Saul to begin with, but his name is James McGill. And I guess the premise of this is he's trying to ride off the coattails of a successful law firm called Hamlin. I believe it's Hamlin, and McGill. So Saul is basically hoping that people mistake him for the McGill, and pretends to be his own secretary even when he gets calls. And the British secretary was just golden. I did love that. He had a couple interactions with Mike after the court case, which, by the way, the court case was entertaining, because he really did a good job of making it seem like these three kids were completely innocent, and then when you find out what they did, it was great, because clearly they're not, and they did go to jail, and Saul made his $700 or whatever for being a public defender. The stuff in the parking lot with Mike was well done, I think. I don't know if it was underutilizing his character. I mean, he's not involved yet. I'm assuming he will get more involved in the show as we go on. Is Mike already the badass that he was, or is he really just legitimately a parking lot manager person? So that's another big question that I have after watching the episode. But it was good. It was nice to see Mike back in a show. Just his character. I've always liked the character of Mike. The major plot with the show seems to be with this Chuck guy, this friend Chuck that Saul has, who works at the law firm of Hamlin and McGill, and I guess he's sick. He has some kind of illness, and it seems like he thinks he's gonna beat it. Saul doesn't seem too reassuring that he's going to beat that illness and be able to practice law again, so Saul wants him to cash out of the law firm, basically, claim his millions and millions, and I forget the exact amount. It might have been something crazy like 17 million or something crazy. It was a lot of money. And that's his motivation in this whole show. Saul is motivated by money, where Chuck thinks it's great that Saul's out there doing these public defender cases and being paid shit and saying it's the best practice you'll ever get. So keep at it. But he's in a rough spot. Saul's in a rough spot in life. He has this little office in the back of this beauty parlor place, and it is just absolute crap. And so yeah, money's gonna be a major motivation, and you know what? That kind of parallels Breaking Bad in my mind, where money was a major motivation. It's kind of the same thing. Both these shows have to do with the main characters wanting to make as much money as they can, no matter what cost. Earlier on in the episode, these two skateboarder guys who have been pulling, I'll call them heists or whatnot, they basically film each other purposely diving into windshields of cars and trying to get cash out of the people driving the car, saying the driver of the car hit them and basically pay them off to not call the cops and not get the law involved. But Saul sees through this right away, and I didn't know if they would appear in the episode again, but they did. Saul decides, you know what, I'm gonna take matters into my own hands here. He goes and finds these two guys, and he wants to pull off like just a major job where he makes a lot more than they've been making doing the same scam. So he goes and gets them, saying the driver of the car hit them and basically pay them off to not call the cops and not get the law involved. But Saul sees through this right away, and I didn't know if they would appear in the episode again, but they did. Saul decides, you know what, I'm gonna take matters into my own hands here. He goes and finds these two guys, and he wants to pull off like just a major job where he makes a lot more than they've been making doing the same scam. So he goes and gets these skateboarding guys, and they decide they're gonna do this scam to people who have money, which, you know, great, good idea, make some cash. It doesn't turn out very well for him. It turns more into a hit and run situation. The car just drives off. The skateboarder guys, they follow the car to the house. Saul is lagging a little bit behind there in catching up with them. So after a while, Saul shows up at the home of the people the scam was pulled on, and he knocks on the door and is greeted by a gun in his face. And that's really where the episode ends. He gets hauled into that house. We don't know what's going to happen next. But in conclusion, some of my thoughts about the show were just good start, great start. The pacing, good. Started off a bit slow, picked up a little bit. Some good character development for Saul, which I think is really what the first episode was aiming to do. It introduced some secondary characters. It introduced Chuck. It introduced the other lawyers, the other law firm. There was one scene where Saul was trying to get some new clients, and he was so close, but he just didn't quite get them. And they're later seen at the other law firm with the competitor lawyers of Saul. So yeah, all in all, it was a solid start to what I think is going to be just a great series. Really excited to continue on and see what happens next, because that's the thing about this, is no one really knows where this is going. The rest of the show could be completely different from what the pilot was. They could easily change directions. They could easily switch it to some crazy story, and you know what? That's the kind of thing I'm looking forward to. I know it's going to be great just from the start, and we'll see what happens tonight when episode 2 comes on. So thanks guys for listening to my discussion, or I wouldn't much call it a review, but let's say discussion / mini review. Let's call it that for lack of a better term. If this is something that that goes well, or I think I could do more of in the future, then I might start making some more videos, some more reviews of some more shows. There's a couple shows out there that I really love that I would love to talk about every time they come on. And I'd also just like to throw it out there that anyone watching this who wants to be a part of any discussions, because I'm really just talking to myself right now, but if there's anyone out there who also has a passion for these shows, then please contact me, even if it's through a comment, through a private message, anything you want to do. Contact me if you want to be involved. We can have one of these discussions with even if it's a couple people. It can be more than one, and we can just go back and forth about the episode, about different elements of the show, and you know, maybe make it a weekly thing. I'd really enjoy doing that, bouncing ideas off different people here. Have yourselves a great day. I am Grant. This is Gamertainment. Stay tuned. Keep on watching. Thank you, guys.